Hey guys, it's Bryony, your favourite little period positive pixie here, and today I'm going to be talking about adenomyosis. So, for those of you that have been following me for a while, you will know that around a year ago, in fact, January 2018, I was finally diagnosed with a condition called adenomyosis. This is what has been causing my painful periods, and as April is Adenomyosis Awareness Month, and I'm aware it's getting towards the end of April now, I figured that for this month I really wanted to get a video done talking more about it and answering some of your guys' questions on adenomyosis so that there's more awareness about the condition, and if any of you have similar symptoms, you may be able to go and get treated for it as well. So without further ado, let's get straight on into the video. I posted a picture on my Instagram and Facebook page a couple of weeks ago with a picture of me with the adenomyosis awareness ribbon, which is a purple ribbon, and asking you guys to leave me any questions you might have that you want me to clear up. So that's what I'm going to do in this video. So question number one is, what's the hardest part to manage about it? So in my case, my adenomyosis makes my periods really painful, but it doesn't make them heavy. So for some people, it's definitely managing the heavy blood loss, because periods can be really heavy with adenomyosis. In my case, it's just managing the pain, which over the last year I seem to have got on top of. I've had a couple of slip-ups where I've maybe not been so good at taking my supplements, which I talked about before, or I just had a really crap diet the week before or something, and that's kind of affected it more, but I've learned that I can manage it quite well with diet and supplements and also taking strong ibuprofen while I'm on my period. So the next question is, what is the spelling of that new pill you are taking? I would like to look into this one. I've had other people mention this but have no clue how to spell it. My other problem is I'm dyslexic as well. No worries, Michelle. So the pill I have recently started taking to try and help manage the period pain is something called bromelain, which I will spell down here for you. And bromelain is basically the stuff that's in pineapple, so it can make periods a little bit heavier, which is why you have to be careful when taking it. As I said before, my periods aren't heavy, so I don't have to worry too much about this, but it can also help kind of loosen up the blood flow, stopping clots, and that can also really help to relieve the cramps. So that's what I've been trying, and I am trying out for this month as well. The next question is, my mother has this disease and I'm worried I may get it. Is it hereditary? Did your mother or grandmother have it? And if so, how did they prepare you? So the thing is, with things like adenomyosis and endometriosis, there's very little research that's actually been done into them. So whilst, yes, they could be hereditary, because there is some evidence that, you know, if your mother has it or your grandmother has it, you're more likely to get it. It's not necessarily hereditary. As far as we're aware, my mum and my grandmother didn't have adenomyosis. My mother did have endometriosis, and we're still not completely sure whether or not I have it because I haven't had a laparoscopy yet. The way I was diagnosed with my adenomyosis is with an internal, so a vaginal ultrasound, where they saw that my uterus was enlarged, larger than it should be, and also retroverted. That's got nothing to do with adenomyosis, but that's just something we found out, which means it tilts backwards. But it was bulky, and that's a key sign of adenomyosis. But there was no excess fluid in my pelvis, and there was no excess blood flow around my uterus, which is a good indication that if I do have endometriosis, it's probably not too severe. But again, can't be ruled out without laparoscopy, but at this point, I don't feel that I need one because I managed to get it under control. The answer to your question really is that there's not enough research that's been done into this, and hopefully there'll be more in the future. The next question is, how is diagnosis made? So I kind of just touched on this briefly in the previous question, but in most cases, diagnosis is made with an internal ultrasound. That's where they put the probe in your vagina and they have a look around inside. It can't be made with an external ultrasound. This was a big problem I had because a lot of the technicians kept doing external ones rather than doing the internal one that I actually needed. I had that about 3 or 4 times actually, until finally I went to the gynecologist and he was like, no, I need to do it this way. And yes, it was a male gynecologist. I was happy with that. But it can also be diagnosed post-hysterectomy. So if they take your uterus out and then decide to cut it up and have a look in it, then they might find that you had adenomyosis there if they couldn't diagnose you beforehand. But that's the only time it can actually be confirmed is with a biopsy. Beforehand, it's usually diagnosed with an internal ultrasound. And the last question I have is adeno similar to endometriosis? So adeno and endometriosis are probably best described as being like cousins, or at least stepsisters. They are not the same condition. A lot of people confuse them for being the same condition because they both involve the lining of the uterus, your endometrium, growing in places it shouldn't. With adenomyosis, the lining of your uterus grows into the muscle of your uterus. With endometriosis, the lining of the uterus grows outside the uterus. So it could attach on the outside of the uterus, on the fallopian tubes, and the ovaries, bladder, bowel, and even like spread throughout the body actually in serious cases. But they are not the same condition, and it is possible to have both at the same time. In fact, they reckon a lot of people do. Again, not enough research done into this, so they need to do more to find out for sure. But adenomyosis and endometriosis are different from each other. They can give different and similar symptoms, so that's why you've really got to go to someone who knows what they're doing in order to get the correct diagnosis. So I hope that gives you a little bit more of an insight into adenomyosis. I didn't want to make this video too long and bombard you with information, so I deliberately kept it short, but hopefully you found it helpful and maybe got some insight into some things about adenomyosis that you'd never known before, or maybe you'd never heard of adenomyosis before, and this gave you an insight into that too. Either way, thank you so much for watching, guys. Do please subscribe, and don't forget you can get cloth pads and menstrual cups, the period products that are eco-friendly that I use, in my website down below, and I will see you next week. Bye bye, guys.